everybody, welcome to our new podcast series, and its name is The Student Diaries. And I will be discussing a lot of interesting topics. And before that, I'll introduce myself. My name is Mahina Ali, and I am a third year economics student, of course, at TED University. And like the fact that I came up with this idea along with the Radio TEDU students is that I want to be sharing everything that I have seen in Turkey as an international student. So, like, the topic is not going to be just about academics, opportunities, and networking, which are really, really important topics, at least at this stage. But we will be also discussing the fun topics of food in Turkey, the cuisine, the people, the transport, like what are the out of academic stuff that I have done and you guys can do, and what was the fun fact about it. So stay tuned for all of the episodes that gonna be hit up soon, and let's get started. Okay, so we will divide this podcast into two different parts. First, we will be talking about why people are actually wanting to come to Turkey, whether for studies, for work, for tourist purposes. It's a very hyped place. Even back in my country, which is Pakistan, a lot of people they want to spend some part of their life in Turkey. So we will be discussing that. And second, we will be talking about the opportunities that you can get as an international student in Turkey, because fortunately, I am quite socially active and I have been taking opportunities and for networking, for social development, personality development, and those kind of important things that people, and even for you, for your own self, you want to expose yourself to that. So we will be talking about in the second part of our podcast. So the most important fact that is in my mind when I was coming here was whether the world knows about Turkey. And there's no doubt in it that the world knows about Turkey because it's a global hub. You know, there are conferences and there are meetings and everything has been going on in Turkey whenever I check their location. And this is something which gives Turkey a really big edge apart from its beauty and tourist attraction, which makes students to come here and study. So moving forward, let's just talk about the fact that when I came here, the first thing I saw and I realized is Ankara and Istanbul are way different than each other. Like, they have no similarity in it. On one hand, where Ankara is calm, composed, you don't have traffic, you don't have any of chaos. On the other hand, Istanbul is completely opposite. You can find traffic there, you can find chaos there, you can find, of course, water is also a big factor, which Ankara doesn't have much and Istanbul does. So that was something that I didn't know. So that was a good realization. And of course, as a student, I prefer, and even if that time, if I would know the difference, I would have preferred Ankara. Because I think student life in Ankara is more easy compared to that of Istanbul. First, a person is coming from his or her home and leaving everyone behind and having a future that the person doesn't even know what will be in there. And at that time, I think you should not over occupy yourself with unnecessary stuff like traffic, chaos. These are kind of unnecessary stuff that students probably would have to deal with if he or she chooses Istanbul. But so, as a student, it's easier to get used to the international life if you choose Ankara. And why I'm saying this, because it's a very small city, and it's easier to bump into people, it's easier to know people, it's easier to let them know you, even to hang out, and even making good network opportunities. It's easier to do in Ankara compared to that of Istanbul. A lot of people, I had this kind of discussion with my friends and family, and they were telling me, of course, if a city is big, you will have more opportunities, which I agree. But even if you have more opportunities, but you cannot grab it for various reasons. The reasons can be for maybe time issues, you cannot manage, you cannot travel that much. For example, in Istanbul, you have a European side and you have an Asian side, and your opportunities in Asian side, and you're in the other one. So there are huge possibilities that you will not grab that or you will fail to grab that. So, but in Ankara, for example, even if, according to you, if Ankara has lesser opportunities, still you can grab all of them if you are actually socially aware of your surroundings and what is actually going on. So, like, that difference was always in my mind, and it especially came to my mind when I visited Istanbul. And I realized the fact that although I didn't know the difference much before, uh, the decision was pretty good. So that's a suggestion, but it can, of course, like differ from person to person. Some people would like to stay in chaos. Some people would like to just shut their doors and have like their own life according to what their rules and norms are. But being even as a social animal, we have to network and we have to get into each other. We have to know each other, and for that, Ankara, I feel like, is the best place to start with. I'm not saying to end with or to even just continue stay here or continue developing those social skills in Ankara, but at least the starting point for someone who is completely from a different country or is completely from a different culture, it's easier to start here with. Also for the experience, and we will even be having a special episode for this, is the language. So since this is the introductory podcast episode, so we will be, discussing all simple factors that we will be discussing in detail and in more fun way, is like, um, of course the language barrier is for sure real. For someone who's coming from Arab background, Asian background, I mean African background, of course it's really different. But for me, as I took a Turkish language course before coming here, so I had like all of the reasons and the logics about how the language works, about how the vocabulary works. So I got pretty easily into the Turkish language practice here. And even I most of the time got roommates who were Turkish. So my practice, like talking skills, they developed from my house background, my accommodation background. But even then, not in TEDU, of course. TEDU is a private university and it has like English speaking courses, and teachers and professors and the staff, everybody, the students, everybody does know English. But of course, outside the university there is a life, and outside the university there are a lot of things that you should definitely grab. But for that you need to know Turkish. You cannot always expect everyone to know English, which is completely unfair. But the fact that if you have some basic knowledge and if you have some basic language information, it will become pretty easier, as it was for me. Because if I hear something which I have never heard before, I can quickly understand it because I know the roots of that sentence. So I can not just understand it, I can even develop my own sentences on it. And it is, trust me, really important. And even like as an international in Turkey, a lot of people ask me this question, like, how do you communicate with people? How do you react like when you feel like you do not know Turkish? Okay, I don't know Turkish, I agree with that. When I came here for the first time, like not as much as I know right now, like of course it's my third year, and like it's now has developed a lot more, but still, when I came here, I the first thing I stopped myself from doing is to hesitate. Even if I am making mistakes, even if something is happening that probably would land me into embarrassment or I don't know, but I have never stopped myself from talking in Turkish. And this credit goes to a lot of my friends as well, who have appreciated me even when I do mistake. Even now, when I do my Turkish language problems, if I face any of them, my friends, they just randomly and informing me and telling me like, no, this is not how it works, this is how it should be done. So that's what I'm saying, that the learning process, it will keep on going, it will continue to be going. But the fact that you should never hesitate is the key for any language, whether it's German, Turkish, Arabic, whatever. It doesn't matter, because a lot of people even know a good amount of Turkish. Even I've seen people who know Turkish, who know how to talk, who know how to communicate, but they just don't have the confidence, or they're just hesitating to make mistakes, which is quite humanly and which is quite natural. That's why what I'm mentioning here is this, that never ever stop yourself from doing so. So now let's move towards our later part of the podcast. And it was more about the opportunities and the networking that we should actually focus on while even being a student. Because, like social development, it is something which students are actually being taught a lot. And even personally, I would tell you that I was a really introvert person, but I just learned how to start this social development process. So the main question when students actually decide what to do is from where they can do this whole activity. So the first and foremost thing that I can suggest you is to start from your own university, because of course you do not know at that particular time when you come to a new country, and you don't know a lot of people around outside the university especially. And in that scenario, what you can really do is interact with as much people as you can in your first year, because first year is the time to know most and as much people as you can. Because of course later on there will be group dynamics, and there will be some other developments that have already been done and you were not the part of it. So it's easier to break the barrier before, like in the first year, as compared to that in the later parts of your academic university. Like in TEDU, of course, we have a lot of societies, and they give us networking opportunities, they do events and everything. So just go there. If you think like it's hard for you to just randomly go into a person and start talking and having a conversation and build on the relation from there, so just start doing it from the event, so like you get a good excuse for doing so. And that's exactly even what I did. As I just mentioned, that I was a very introvert person, and it was really hard for me to get into someone's comfort zone, or get into someone's I don't know, social circle. Even like my social circle wasn't that good compared to what now I have. Like now I have a pretty large social circle, not in just university and even out of it. And the main reason and the main point that I've started was from the societies that university give us. Like a lot of students are there. Even maybe your peers will be there, your like the course members, maybe seniors will be there, so you will get to interact with people not just from your age group and your level of studies, but also from people like from your senior level. So you will get a lot of experiences that you probably wouldn't even think of before. And of course guys, trust me, this like on this point, that maybe at that particular time you wouldn't realize that this experience has impacted your personality, but you will eventually gonna realize that, because it does. um, Secondly, out of academics, that I was telling you that yeah, it is really important, and do not just keep yourself within the university, and just make yourself as exposed to reality as you can, because university life is a life, but it's a different world compared to the real world. It helps you how to get into the real world, but it just doesn't tell you the exact steps that you can take. So you have to figure that on your own, and nobody will going to be there for you to just take your finger and grab you to all of the networking platforms that actually students need. So you have to do it all by yourself. And the most important platform that you can make use of is your social media handles, guys. Instagram, like, is the main point. I started getting to know maybe different organizations, how to apply, how to um, get into those group of people that I have no connection with. Like, they are not from my university, and I have no mutuals with them even. So I just started applying to the groups, as I just told you, from Instagram. And a lot of groups were having, like, I don't know, some sport events in Ankara, some picnic, some hiking events, cycling events, and they were the starting point even for my out of academic networking. Meanwhile, I also met some people who were then a part of official organizations as well. So, um, also the fact that when students step out of the university for networking purposes, they first try to find people from their countries. So of course we have like associations for different countries. Like for Pakistan, we have Pakistan Students Association in Turkey, which is PSAT, and I'm like a part of it now. It's my second term working with them. But like when I was telling you that I met those people from a random cricket event, like cricket is the sport, a very famous sport for Pakistan. Like people are crazy for this. Anyways, back to the point. These people that I've met and now I'm part of this organization was just I had a normal random conversation with them on that cricket event. So that's what exactly I'm telling you guys. So it doesn't have to be a proper official setting for you to get into the group as an official member. So you just need to know how to crack that opportunity, how to crack that door and break the barrier. And do not wait for anything to happen for you to do something, because everything can happen at any time. It just depends on how you do it and at what exact timings are you choosing to do that action, because timings really matter. So that's how you can start your out of academic journey. And when I mentioned about the social media platforms, guys, for example, I'm currently now a part of Indonesian organization. So now I'm in Turkey. I'm from Pakistan, and I am working directly as a co-director of my department for an Indonesian organization. And that organization is completely online, but it does events and official stuff in different parts of the cities. Like last year, we just did a conference in Istanbul, and it was a really good conference and it was really successful. But the point here that I'm trying to make is no single barrier can stop you, whether it's language that we've discussed about, whether it's something, maybe your introvertness, or whether it's something which is very far away. If you really want to do it and if you are determined, that's what matters. And that's what students actually should do, because these 4 years of university, trust me, guys, as an international student in a country, I've realized the fact that I have to open myself and I have to explore the opportunities and I have to explore all of those corners that students should have an access to. I have to do it in these 4 years. I've realized that after these 4 years, when I will enter my professional life, I will not have the time, because that time will be for the implementation of whatever I have learned. And at that time, if I start working on my social skills or how to talk, how to network, it will be too late. So, this is how crucial and this is how significant it is in your life. And even I have testified this in my various actions and in my various events when I've found out that luckily I have developed this like from a couple of months ago, and it has now given me the fruit of it. And you will realize it with the passage of time that how things are actually molding you into a personality that you have never imagined yourself as. And what's the point of being scared of anything? What can worst happen? Maybe people would not want to talk. Maybe if your equations are not matching with someone else and you guys are not vibing a lot, maybe they would just not hang out with you again. Okay, it's fine. Like we will have a lot of more people to deal with. Probably if you say get a no from some opportunity, if you apply for something and you just get rejected, if you just gave you 100% for something and you just, are not certain about whether it will have a positive effect or not, what worse can happen? Because there is nothing worse that can actually happen. It will it will teach you something that you have never ever received or you have never ever got in your life. You probably would become more evaluating, probably you would become more critical, probably you would become more strong, probably you would become like a more extrovert, because one way or another it will have a positive effect, that is for sure. But if you on the other hand will just keep on doing same things every single day, it will definitely not make your personality boom or diversify, because probably you guys are thinking it will make you more efficient in what you are doing, but no, it is making your personality stagnant, because you are not exploring dangers. And when you are not exploring risks, what happens is stagnation. What happens is you will stop and stuck in a single point. Your vision, your brain, it won't work out of the box. And that's what the society and the time needs. People do not know, people do not need anyone who is just thinking from A to Z. They want to know, and they want to find those people from the society who can actually stand out of this line. And that's exactly how you can even just excel in your professional life. Like, our podcast was not actually about how to excel in professional life, but everything has this impact, and all of these activities and all of these qualities that you are just rushing and trying to just gather for yourself is for your future, is for your career, for your whatever you guys want to be, maybe doctor, engineer, economist, I don't know, whatever you guys want to be. All of this have some foundational principles and foundational qualities which the world is making harder and harder with the passage of time. So we will be talking about a lot more interesting stuff, guys, and it was really pleasure for you guys to listen to me until the end. And I hope you guys take care of yourselves and understand what we have just talked about, because these are really crucial elements which we all know. Honestly, everything that I've said here is known, nothing was new. But the fact that we still do not apply, and we still do not understand the gravity of it, is really, really warning and alarming. So, when you listen and you find yourself extremely motivated, just do something about it and add it to your daily life, and add it to your your personality, and try to just make it more and more of every single passing day, because these days that you are having fun, have fun, but learn, because this is the learning period and it will never ever come back. So it's really important to realize it as early as possible. And I wish you luck for everything that you would do after listening to my words and after listening to this podcast. And I really hope that you guys will stay tuned and stay with us for more motivating experiences and suggestions. As an international student in Turkey, under this the Student Diary podcast series, for the coming times as well. So take care of yourself, and we will see you around.